The trade deadline is here, and the Canucks have made their first move with likely more to come, which will bring more opportunities for others as this defensive core looks to re-solidify itself. We're going to be breaking down all of that in this episode of Canucks Digest, so first make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you don't miss any and all updates surrounding the Canucks as the trade deadline is finally here, and it's going to bring a lot of excitement. We're going to be bringing you guys a lot of content over the next few days. But with that, let's hop into the first topic of the day, which is bye-bye Soucy. So just hours after Mark just covered a video on how teams were calling interested in Carson Soucy, Elliot Friedman breaks it here saying Soucy from Vancouver to New York for a third. And when looking at the trade details as well, per many sources going around there, Frank Saravelli, Darren Dreger, Elliot Friedman, that the deal is Carson Soucy to the Rangers and San Jose's third round pick of 2025 to the Canucks. Soucy waived his no trade clause to complete the trade and has 1 year left on his deal at $3 million, which actually is about 3.25. So the Canucks were able to clear up 3.25 million. Maybe this means that a Boeser extension is coming. Who knows? There is going to be some interesting things as far as what the Canucks are going to do next. But Rick Dhaliwal also chimed in, poking a little bit of fun. Maybe he was being serious. Who knows? But JT Miller called Soucy and made the Big Apple pitch to him. I just thought this was really funny. Whether it's serious or not, I think in all honesty, it could be pretty likely that JT Miller gave Carson Soucy a call, said, hey, come to the Big Apple. We're starting to click right now. I'm scoring. People are scoring. It's a fun time here. Now, Carson Soucy is on his way out of Vancouver. He waived his no team trade clause for that, which is a big one as well because he wouldn't waive it for nothing. So as much as Dhaliwal might be poking fun here, maybe there's some truth to the matter of that because he did have to waive his no trade clause to get this deal done, and going to the Rangers of all teams just seems very ironic that JT Miller just ended up there and now Carson Soucy is also there. However, Vancouver, we knew this was probably going to be happening as far as Carson Soucy getting traded. We knew he was on the trade block. They've been fielding offers and just listening to offers from teams for the past 2 weeks or so now, maybe even 3. Time is just a massive blur at this point where everything is just kind of blending together, and things that happened a month ago feel like they happened last week, and things that happened 2 months ago feel like they happened a few weeks ago. So things are kind of just blending all together as far as Canucks news is concerned. But Carson Soucy, he's been on the trade block for a minute. We knew something was going to be happening at the trade deadline. We knew that it was going to be Carson Soucy, Derek Forbort. There was the Elias Pettersson rumors as well. Brock Boeser is still a rumor floating around there that could happen. There's still a lot that still can happen. All those guys could definitely well be moved on from by the end of tomorrow, which is when the trade deadline is going to hit at, I think, 4 p.m. tomorrow. So there's still a lot of stuff to happen, but the news is starting and the floodgates have opened. You can see all the Lord of the Rings memes that are happening right now on social media where it's "and so it begins." Absolutely, it has begun, and the trade deadline craziness is here. But what do you guys think overall about Carson Soucy being moved on from? In my opinion, I think this was a very good move for the Vancouver Canucks. I know a lot of people are going to be divided on it like they have been on social media because as much as people liked Carson Soucy last year, it has not translated to being a really good player this year. He went from being one of our top 4 guys last year to probably one of our bottom 2 defenders this season, if I'm being quite frank. It was a very disappointing season for him. Maybe he turns over a new leaf in New York. Wish him nothing but the best as long as he's not playing against Vancouver very often, as well as JT Miller. We don't want to see the Rangers very many times, hopefully, especially not in a Stanley Cup final if we ever make it there and both of us make it there. However, I think Carson Soucy, moving on from him, it makes sense as far as just moving on from a defensive liability and clearing up the cap space to potentially just go out and sign other players like Brock Boeser or acquire some UFAs or some teams, some guys from other teams, or just preparing for the offseason just so that they have a little bit more room to work with. We know Pius Suter, he's trying to work on an extension, so maybe this could have been to clear up some extra space to get a deal done with him, because I know he's the name that's been floated around as that could be traded by the end of tomorrow as well, so that's going to be another name to watch out for. But let us know what you guys think down in the comments as far as Carson Soucy being traded is concerned. But that's going to take us into our second topic of the day, which is new defensive opportunities. So with Carson Soucy leaving, yes, it's only one player that we lost. However, when you look at the guys that are at the bottom of that list, with the exception of Noah Juulsen on IR with the season-ending injury, you have Elias Pettersson, DPD, and Victor Mancini, where these guys, they've gotten some looks, but not many. Specifically, Victor Mancini, we haven't seen him in this Vancouver Canucks lineup too much since he's been acquired from the New York Rangers. But DPD, he's been playing very well in some games. Last night, he played really well against Anaheim, even though that was a game where Anaheim tried to fight back in it, and they almost did for a second at the end there. Deep PD, I thought, had a really solid game, as well as another PD, which that could be a topic for another video, because I know you guys will probably want to hear some good news surrounding the other Elias Pettersson. But as far as the defensive opportunities go here, we know that Derek Forbort was another name that was on the trade block and could be one that is traded tomorrow. But when looking at the penalty kill unit, how this unit is going to look better, you have Marcus Pettersson on that first one, but when you look at that second one, it's where you find Derek Forbort, and he's been very effective on the penalty kill. Has he been a great goal scorer or great at 5-on-5? Not necessarily, but on the short-handed penalty kill unit, on that second unit, he has played very well. So I could see the Canucks keeping him around for just a little bit longer, or just keeping him around for the rest of this year, just to see how it goes with him on this penalty kill. Because Vancouver, our penalty kill has been phenomenal the past few games. Maybe we haven't been able to get as many power play goals. We did get one last night, so that was really good. But as far as the penalty kill goes, we've had one of the best penalty kills in hockey over the past 3, 4, maybe even 5 games, where we are very dominant when we're shorthanded. We haven't given up too much. We've been able to keep mistakes at a minimal, and a lot of that is due to great penalty killing, primarily from Marcus Pettersson, but Derek Forbort has also been a key part of that for being that on that second unit and being that anchor that they need to get the puck out or to shut guys down coming across center ice or into the offensive zone. But this penalty kill unit definitely, I think, will improve a lot more, especially if we get to see Victor Mancini get a few more looks. I know he's not the biggest guy, but he has some good speed. He can move the puck a little bit, so maybe they can find some use for him there. I know when we're shorthanded, we're not necessarily moving the puck aside from dumping it. We're not trying to create scoring opportunities, but I think he might bring something a little bit more balanced. And like I said, when looking at this defensive unit, you have Victor Mancini at 22 and Elias Pettersson at 21. So yeah, with this defensive core being relatively young, except for Tyler Myers and Derek Forbort, Marcus Pettersson and Hronek are getting up there a little bit, but not too much. So you still have a relatively young defensive core. So now with Tyler Myers, we have him locked down for a few more seasons. Now we can kind of develop these guys and plan for the future. And by the time that Tyler Myers is ready to go out, we'll have Tom Willander ready to step in there and fill in that position. So with the Canucks moving on from Soucy, yeah, it does kind of suck because of the things that he was able to do last season. However, it does make sense, especially when considering the cap they were able to clear up with that. Was it a lot of cap space? Not entirely, but it still is 3.25. You can still use that money to go out, and whether you put it all into your negotiations with Suter, put it all into your negotiations with Boeser, or split it up amongst the two. However you got to do it. I know with Boeser, they haven't really had a problem as far as price tag goes, and that thing is more of a matter of term. But if Suter is more of a matter of price tag, now you have some extra 3.25 to go and lock him down, because with Suter, as much as a lot of teams might be able to give some good value for him, I think he's too valuable to this Canucks because we don't have a lot of depth at center. There's not a lot of great options out there at center right now. So there's not really a big market for us, at least, as far as what we would get in return for Pius Suter. So hopefully with this Carson Soucy move, that means that they're going to be moving that extra 3.25 into a Carson Soucy contract extension, and we don't have to worry, or not Carson Soucy, a Pius Suter contract extension, I should say. Carson Soucy is who we lost. But if they're able to put that extra 3.25 into a Suter extension, I would feel really good about that, because I really don't want to lose Suter because of the very scarcity of centers out there right now and the return that we might be able to get for him. But what do you guys think about this down in the comments? Do you like how this new defensive core will look without Carson Soucy there? Do you guys think that we're in a worse position than we were in? Let us know down in the comments. Keep us posted as what you guys think as the trade deadline rolls out. We're going to be bringing you guys lots of great content throughout this weekend, so stay tuned for that. You won't want to miss it. But with that, I've been your host, Griffen. Take care.